In the world of hygiene, most of us stick to the basics: soap, water, rinse, repeat. But this guy decided never to clean himself. Meet the dirtiest man in the world. Skipping showers for decades or using dirt as a skincare routine sounds insane, right? Well, that's exactly what he did all his life. He was so allergic to cleanliness that it actually killed him. How come? Let's dive in and find out how the dirtiest man died after his first ever bath and meet others who are following his anti-hygiene lifestyle. Europe's fire-devoted outcast. In the tranquil village of Chikov, Czech Republic, Ludvik developed a reputation as Europe's dirtiest man, not for a lack of hygiene, but for his unwavering obsession with fire. His strange life focused on setting things on fire, a habit that not only browned his skin with soot, but also singed his hair, leaving him forever cloaked in the proof of his flaming passion. This affinity to fire destroyed his life, turning his abandoned farmhouse into a burnt monument to his lunacy. Ludvik searched his surroundings for anything flammable, from old tires to plastic bits, to satisfy his burning obsession. On very cold evenings, he sought warmth not in blankets or a hearth, but in the ashes of his flames. Ash and smoke became his second skin, providing unorthodox protection against the weather, while also serving as a visible statement of his commitment to the blaze. Security officials and locals, suspicious of his acts, handed him food deliveries rather than monetary assistance, knowing that payment would only exacerbate his pyromania. Despite his eccentricities, Ludvik became a fixture in the neighborhood, and he was noted for his sooty appearance and insatiable desire for kindling. However, his quirky behavior took a terrible turn in December 2016. When Ludvik failed to collect his regular food shipment, anxious neighbors investigated and discovered him dead in his farmhouse. He was surrounded by the ruins of his flaming existence, with the ashes of his once-burning desire scattered around him. The exact cause of Ludvik's demise was never confirmed, but the toll of years of inhaling toxic smoke likely contributed to his demise. Burning plastic and other materials releases hazardous particles that can cause irreversible lung damage, chronic respiratory diseases, and other health complications. His fiery obsession, while his solace, became his silent undoing. Ludvik's life was anything but conventional. While many might view his actions as destructive or even reckless, they left an indelible mark on those who knew of him. Not brushing teeth. In 2007, Channel 4 premiered the trailblazing series Embarrassing Bodies, which exposed the public to unfiltered, very intimate health concerns. One remarkable instance aired in 2011 involving Jay, a 21-year-old whose confession surprised viewers. He had never brushed his teeth. His dental negligence was horrifyingly obvious, with barely a few decaying teeth remaining. Years of ingesting sugary snacks and drinks without maintaining proper mouth hygiene resulted in his alarming state. Although his story began as a cautionary tale, there was a ray of optimism. Jay had a complete dental makeover as part of the exhibition, demonstrating the transforming power of contemporary dentistry. His voyage demonstrated the vital need to clean one's teeth regularly, a regimen that is both simple and sometimes overlooked. Vietnam's hair legend. Tran Van Hay, a Vietnamese man, transformed his unruly hair into a legend. By the time he passed away in 2010, his locks had grown to an impressive 22 feet in length and weighed 23 pounds. His adventure began decades ago when a haircut made him suddenly unwell, triggering a life-altering decision. He would never cut or wash his hair again. Tran's hair became a massive matted coil over the next 50 years. Unlike dreadlocks, which require purposeful maintenance, his hair was completely out of control, resulting in a gigantic natural structure. His decision was not motivated by aesthetics or tradition, rather it was an unconventional answer to a unique challenge. What was the result? Hair looped around his torso like a huge fluffy rope. The sheer weight of his hair presented substantial issues. Everyday tasks, such as riding a motorcycle, became impossible. Tran brilliantly adapted by tying his hair into a towering bundle atop his head to support its weight. However, the tension on his neck and shoulders was considerable, highlighting the physical cost of his dedication. Tran never wanted popularity, yet his hair became a subject of both local and international interest. While the Guinness Book of Records never officially recognized his achievement, his locks are still unrivaled in length and density. Tran's legacy is one of extraordinary dedication, showing how even the most unconventional choices can shape a unique identity. Yet Tran wasn't the only one to embrace the untamed. In neighboring Thailand, another individual took a different, equally remarkable journey into the world of uncut hair, blending superstition and personal belief. Giam Suk's mystical locks. Giam Suk, also known as Thailand's Rapunzel, has spent more than 2 decades developing a thick, matted dreadlock that matches her 5-foot height. Unlike Tran Van Hay, who made the decision based on illness, Giam's hair journey began with cultural superstition. When her hair began to mat naturally in her 30s, local elders cautioned her that cutting or washing it would bring her bad fortune. Giam took their advice to heart and resolved to keep her hair unspoiled. Her decision demonstrates a strong regard for tradition. While many would dismiss such warnings as superstition, in her tribe these ideas are deeply held. Giam's dreadlocks, now a distinctive feature, represent her dedication to these traditional traditions. Despite its unconventional appearance, her hair tells a story of resilience and identity. Unlike Tran's coil, which grew unchecked, Giam's dreadlock formed organically, embracing its natural twist without additional maintenance. For her, it's more than just hair. It's a statement of personal and cultural conviction. Sridhar Chilal's journey. Guinness World Records is a source of fascination for many people. They represent the unusual, the strange, and occasionally the unthinkable. However, some records have implications that few people would dare to face. Sridhar Chilal, a guy from Pune, India, is a prime illustration of how ambition can leave an indelible mark, literally. Chilal made waves in 2014 when he held the Guinness World Record for the longest fingernails on a single hand. For an incredible 66 years, he refused to clip the nails on his left hand, letting them grow to a total length of 360 inches, nearly as long as a London double-decker bus. While this accomplishment is unquestionably great, it was not without significant costs. Living with such extreme fingernails came with a host of daily challenges. Simple tasks became Herculean endeavors. Sleeping comfortably was nearly impossible, as Chilal couldn't pull a blanket over himself or shift positions easily. Each day required vigilance. Gusts of wind, passing cars, or the innocent curiosity of children posed constant threats to his precious nails. He also struggled with personal relationships, particularly in his youth. Finding love was difficult, as his unusual commitment to his nails often left others puzzled or wary. What could inspire such an extraordinary and life-altering commitment? For Chilal, the story began in childhood. One day he accidentally broke a teacher's nail and was met with harsh criticism. The teacher lectured him on the patience and care required to maintain long nails. The moment left a deep impression on the young boy, sparking a vow to never cut his nails again. What began as an act of defiance eventually transformed into an unparalleled dedication, culminating in one of the most unconventional records in the world. For decades, Chilal carried his growing burden with pride, even as it physically weighed him down. However, in 2018, his extraordinary adventure had come to an end. That year, his nails were ceremoniously chopped at Ripley's, believe it or not, museum in New York. Today, his preserved nails are displayed there, eliciting a mix of amazement and incredulity from tourists who are astounded by their size and the story behind them. While the nails are now etched in glass, Chilal's record has left him with long-term physical ramifications. Decades of bearing the enormous weight of his nails resulted in irreversible damage to his fingertips. His left hand is now largely paralyzed, with nerve damage going up his arm and impacting his shoulder and hearing in one ear. Dirt that keeps you clean. A single question launched a personal hygiene revolution 18 years ago. Chemist David Whitlock was on a date at the time and was asked, "Why does my horse roll around in filth all day?" While this could have been an embarrassing conversation starter, it evolved into a scientific pursuit that would revolutionize hygiene for Whitlock and possibly the entire world. Whitlock was intrigued by horses' unusual yet natural activity and realized that rolling in mud could be nature's creative way of keeping skin healthy. His investigation led him to a startling discovery. The dirt that horses prefer typically contains Nitrosomonas eutropha, a species of bacteria that feeds on ammonia. Ammonia, a major component of sweat, is known for creating unpleasant bodily scents. These bacteria neutralize ammonia, turning it into nitrite, which has outstanding anti-infective capabilities. Whitlock began to consider whether humans could benefit from this microbial miracle. Determined to find out, he abandoned traditional hygiene practices and began inventing a bacterial spray dubbed Mother Dirt. The concept was simple but revolutionary. Rather than using soap to remove germs and oils from the skin, a few spritzes of this spray could help to maintain a healthy balance of beneficial microbes. These microbes, Whitlock argued, could clean the skin without disrupting its natural defenses or pH balance. For nearly 2 decades, Whitlock has lived by his philosophy, shunning showers almost entirely. His hygiene routine involves using the bacterial spray daily, washing away physical dirt with water when necessary, and occasionally sanitizing his hands. He believes soap and frequent scrubbing strip the skin of protective oils, disturbing its natural equilibrium and exacerbating issues like dryness, acne, and irritation. Whitlock points to pH levels as a key factor. Healthy human skin has a slightly acidic pH of about 5.5, whereas many soaps have pH levels as high as 11. The mismatch can throw the skin into overdrive, triggering oil overproduction and irritation. Instead, Whitlock advocates for a back-to-nature approach, where good bacteria keep the skin clean and balanced, just as they do for horses. His unorthodox lifestyle has inspired others, including Dr. James Hamlin. Dr. James Hamlin's radical skincare experiment. Dr. James Hamlin's quest to reinvent hygiene began with a simple experiment. Might live without regular soap and baths result in healthier skin? Hamlin, inspired by unusual thinkers such as David Whitlock, decided to put the theory to the test himself. Hamlin thinks that his basic approach has improved his skin. While his approaches may raise questions, he maintains that the outcomes speak for themselves. His youthful appearance and lack of bad body odor, as confirmed by his lover, contradict traditional conventions around personal cleanliness. Hamlin's method reflects Whitlock's attitude. By avoiding regular use of soap and hot water, he allowed his skin's natural ecosystem to settle. This means no daily cleaning, no antibacterial soaps, and no scented deodorants. According to Hamlin, typical hygiene techniques remove beneficial bacteria and alter the skin's sensitive pH balance, resulting in an overproduction of oils and odor-causing germs. He admits that the move was not easy. For the first few weeks, Hamlin confessed to smelling like an oily beast. However, as his skin adjusted, he saw a significant difference. The strong scents had subsided, and his skin felt healthier than ever. His experience implies that much of what we consider natural body odor is actually the result of soap-induced imbalances rather than the skin's own processes. Despite skepticism, their stories raise thought-provoking questions. What does it truly mean to be clean? Is it possible that our modern obsession with hygiene is doing more harm than good? For Hamlin, the answers lie in embracing discomfort and trusting the body's ability to regulate itself. Strange life of Amou Haji. In the small village of Deja, Iran, Amou Haji's story is a monument to an unhygienic existence that defies cultural standards. For nearly 65 years, this enigmatic character went without bathing, garnering him the label of the dirtiest man in the world. His dirty skin became a sign of his rejection of cleanliness, a decision that perplexed onlookers while revealing a life lived wholly on his own terms. Amou's avoidance of soap and water was not due to a lack of money or religious beliefs. Instead, he believed that cleanliness would make him sick, which stemmed from deep-seated concerns and personal beliefs. This unconventional lifestyle was more than just about hygiene. It was a powerful expression of the emotional scars he carried from his boyhood. His rejection of modern conveniences was a form of coping, a silent protest against the trauma he never completely acknowledged. Amou's life went beyond his cleanliness routine. He preferred to live outdoors, frequently sleeping in a tiny tomb he dug himself, which he claimed connected him to the earth. Even though villagers had built him a little brick shelter, he loved the open sky and spent his evenings under the stars. His meals were equally unconventional. He rejected fresh food, favoring rotting meat, with porcupine being a particular favorite. For drinking water, Amou would use a rusty oil can, consuming up to 5 liters daily and ignoring offers of clean water. Even his smoking habits were unusual. While most people smoke a single cigarette, Amou often lit 5 at once. On occasion, he filled a pipe with animal feces, proudly embracing his unconventional methods. He avoided using scissors or razors for grooming. Instead, he would singe his hair with an open flame, further distinguishing himself from modern grooming techniques. In 2022, villagers successfully managed to give Haji a wash, but unfortunately, he did not last long afterward and passed away in October of the same year at the age of 94. Did the bath kill him? Well, scientifically speaking, it didn't. But Haji strongly believed that bathing would deteriorate his health and make him prone to disease. So was he right about it all along? No one can say for sure. Amou Haji's story pushes us to examine issues surrounding the pursuit of happiness. He lived a life free of material desires, unconcerned by the distractions of modern life. Savings over hygiene. Kate Hashimoto lives on the brink of minimalism, choosing a lifestyle that significantly reduces costs. Kate, a qualified public accountant in New York City, is extremely efficient in her money saving. She has devised novel, often contentious methods to cut her spending. Her choices, ranging from dumpster diving for food to forsaking toilet paper, call into question societal standards of consumption and waste. One of Kate's key money-saving strategies is to source food and furnishings from dumpsters. While some may object, Kate says that she only buys food that is still in its original packaging, such as rice or chicken. Recovering discarded products is valuable to her. It cuts costs and waste. She believes that as long as the food is uncontaminated, there is no reason to discard it. She also gets furniture from dumpsters. This makes her home functional without the cost of retail purchases. Kate has an unusual approach to personal hygiene. She washes her clothes in the shower. It saves water and power that a washing machine would use. She prefers to rinse with water after using the restroom rather than using toilet paper. Kate reuses paper towels from public restrooms. She dries and recycles them for housekeeping at home. These practices, while unconventional, help her keep her monthly expenses remarkably low. Kate's frugality extends into the kitchen. She uses her oven and dishwasher as storage, not for cooking. She relies on a hot plate to cook her meals. Meals are simple and cheap, often made from food salvaged during her dumpster dives. An episode tested Kate's extreme lifestyle. She invited her college friend Matt and his girlfriend Rose to dinner. Hosting guests posed challenges for Kate. She wanted to be frugal but also accommodate her friends. She ventured to a grocery store but didn't buy anything. Instead, she explored nearby dumpsters. She found items like chicken, rice, salad, and even a cake for dessert. Her lifestyle often prioritizes savings over cleanliness. It shows in her dumpster-dived meals and lack of hygiene. World's smelliest man. Kailash Singh, a 65-year-old farmer from a village near Varanasi, has an unusual, unenviable reputation. For over 37 years, Singh has steadfastly refused to bathe or cut his hair, earning him the dubious honor of being dubbed the world's smelliest man. His lifestyle choice is both baffling and fascinating. It stems from a promise he made decades ago. That promise is now a central, if odorous, part of his identity. It all began in 1974, shortly after Singh tied the knot with his wife, Kalavati Devi. A priest whom Singh trusted assured him abstaining from bathing would bring him a son. Singh, hoping for a male heir, heeded the priest's advice and hasn't rinsed himself since. Unfortunately, the priest's prophecy didn't come true. Singh had 7 daughters, not a son. But he still keeps his vow. Singh's decision has made life harder in a region where it often hits 47 Celsius. He spends his days sweating in the fields and caring for cows. However, he defines cleanliness simply as a fire bath. Every evening he follows this ritual. It involves smoking marijuana and dancing around a bonfire. He says it is spiritually purifying and removes his sweat. His family and neighbors might disagree. Singh's patient wife, Kalavati, has tried to persuade him to change. She and her kids once tried to bring him to a nearby brook for a forced bath, but Singh escaped and refused to give in. Even threats to deny marital intimacy failed to move him. He'd rather die than take a bath, Kalavati said. She accepted her husband's oddity. It has been so many years now. I've got used to it. The stench has tested his wife's patience. It has also made a target of derision for neighbors and village youths. When I ride my bicycle through the village, kids tease me and shout that I don't wash, Singh admitted. But I don't care. This is God's choice, not mine. He ignores the mockery. For Singh's youngest daughter, 16-year-old Pooja, her father's odd ways have embarrassed her. They've also made her somewhat popular. My schoolmates are curious to meet him, she said. They keep asking how he can live without washing for so many years. Earlier, I used to be angry, but now I just accept it. There's nothing we can do. He doesn't listen to anyone. Ancient hygienic practices. In today's environment, maintaining clean is an important aspect of health and daily living. However, in ancient times, the concept of being clean was rather different. Looking back, we discover amazing ways individuals maintained cleanliness, demonstrating how resourceful they were with what they had. In ancient Rome, cleanliness was regarded as a symbol of prosperity and authority. Rich folks liked elaborate bathhouses, complete with hot pools, steam rooms, and massage sections. These weren't just places to wash, but also places to unwind and mingle. People would gather, chat, and spend hours there. However, most regular folks could not afford such luxuries. They needed to find simpler ways to stay clean. The Greeks devised their own smart approach. Without contemporary soaps, they cleaned themselves with olive oil. They massaged oil into their skin, loosening grime and sweat. Then they scraped everything off with a strigil. This may seem strange now, yet it worked effectively for them. In ancient Egypt, hygiene was linked to spiritual beliefs. Egyptians believed that being clean purified both the body and the soul. They frequently bathed in the Nile River, which they considered sacred. For the pharaohs and their court, this was a daily occurrence. Egyptians wore cosmetics for both beauty and protection. They believed that lead and charcoal could protect their skin from the sun. They thought they might have medicinal properties too. In China, people looked at cleanliness differently. They believed that a balanced body was as important as a clean one. Acupuncture and massage were to promote energy flow and cleanse the body. Tea was seen as a way to stay healthy. It was thought to rid the body of toxins and increase longevity. But even back then, there were people who lived like the dirty people we've discussed. In the late 3rd century AD, Rome's 11 aqueducts supplied 1,200+ public fountains and more than 900 public bathhouses. However, in 537 AD, invading Goths blocked the aqueducts, making bathing much more difficult. The early Catholic Church, which oversaw most of Rome's day-to-day operations during this turbulent period, had no clue how to repair the aqueducts and hence decreed that bathing should be prohibited as a type of wicked hedonism performed by pagans. Over time, physicians grew to believe that bathing was perilous, so dangerous that many individuals sought advice from astrologers to choose the most fortunate time to bathe. A popular 16th century book, This is the Mirror or Glass of Health, advised, "Use not baths or stews, nor sweat too much, for all openeth the pores of a man's body, and maketh the venomous air to enter, and for to infect the blood." In the late 15th century, Queen Isabella of Spain boasted that she had only washed twice in her life. Queen Elizabeth I allegedly bathed once a month. Her successors, James VI and I, had a strong dislike for water and reputedly never bathed. A court lady allegedly claimed that she and her guests became lousy, infested with lice, by sitting in a councillor's chamber that James frequented. The monarch did not even clean his hands before eating. At the dinner table, he just brushed his fingers' ends gently with the damp end of a serviette. His lover, the Duke of Buckingham, wrote to the monarch in one letter, "So craving your blessing, I kiss your dirty hands." So we can't really blame these modern hygiene haters for treading the unconventional path, especially when European royalty was once guilty of living exactly like them. We hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more amazing stories.